Well, hello, fellow worm farmers. This is Larry with Wiley Worm Farms. One more time, it's time to feed bin number one. But before we get started, I don't want to offend anybody, but I want to congratulate the Georgia Bulldogs and Coach Kirby Smart for 22 straight wins. So maybe we'll go to the championship again this year. I say we. I'm obviously not a football player, but my team is. Well, here I am standing before in front of my worm bin. I got one bin out here, so it looks kind of empty here. But we added one more this week, and it's now I've got 4 bins, and it's getting a little confusing to remember when we tape what. So I might start numbering them a little bit. So I'm gonna pull the paper out here. They can get started today. Just spray the paper down a little bit, wet her down a little bit. Get her out of the way and stir this up. We got a claw or something in here. I don't know what in the world it is. I'm not sure what it is, but it's big. I'll just put that right there for the time being. And here's my worms. It's been a little while since I fed these worms, so I'm going to have to, and the bin is very dry. Very dry. So I know why it's so dry. What I did was I went here and I added a little bit more bedding to this bin. This is my first bin. I started this bin on January the 17th. I started with 150 worms. On March the 8th, I went back and added another 150 worms. And we've grown from there. This bin's a little slow getting off. I'm going to wet her down a little bit because it's a little drier than I want it to be. So I'm going to wet her down just a little bit here. All right, I'll get in here later and get a little bit more wetting for that. And what I'm going to do today is something a little different. I've got a paper roll here. Roll here, I'm going to put in here. And then today I am starting something again a little different. I have been feeding my worms vegetable scraps, but I've got 4 bins now, so my vegetable scraps are getting a little loose. So I have taken this here. This is my worm mix, and I have mixed some of worm chow up here. I call it my worm chow. Now what I'm going to do is I've copied and printed off a recipe from Jane at Rockin' Worms. And the reason I did that is because Jane did an experiment. She took 100 worms and put them in a little shoebox bin, and exactly 6 months later, she counted those worms again. She had 1,715 worms. And to me, that's a big old wow. So I asked her for her recipe, and she gave me a recipe. So I've got to get the other stuff ordered. Right now, let's see what I got here. I got flour, I've got cornmeal, and I've got oats. Oats is the other thing. And I blended the oats in and blended all this and put it in here and shook it together. But I'm going to start all over when I get my new product in for my new worm feed. So I'm going to see if I can grow worms like Jane grows worms. Jane is my hero, worm business hero right now. I'm going to cover this up. I'm going to come back in a little later and I'm going to put a little bit more moisture on here. But for now, we'll just wrap her up here for today. Put my paper on, and I'll put my bubble wrap on here a little bit later also. I actually took the bubble wrap off because I wanted to sift this one, and I will probably next week. Sometime next week I'll take this off. And as far as my worm chow, this is my first time feeding this, and I've got probably about 1,000 worms in here, 1,000, 1,200, 14, something like that. And I don't quite know how much to feed, so I'm doing a little experiment to see how much worm chow I need to feed my worms. Anyway, folks, it's a growing venture for me. And this is Larry again with Wiley Worm Farms. I'm going to put a link at the bottom here for Mimi's Worms in Valdosta, Georgia. If you'll order some pure red wiggers, Mimi has got bunches and bunches of red wiggers. I'm also in South Georgia as well. Mimi is about 45 miles from me. But I'm going to wrap her up for today. Put a link at the bottom, and if you would, I would appreciate it if you'd like this. Hit that like button there if you enjoyed this, and also if you hadn't subscribed, I'd appreciate if you'd subscribe and hit that bell icon also, so you can be notified when we do another video. But again, this is Larry with Wiley Worm Farm for today. We're checking out, and we will see you in a day or two. Thank you.